9Class was spamming support Marci a week ago and had a great success with it. Marci is one of the strongest support heroes in the current patch. His abilities allow him to jump on enemy heroes and put them in a bad position, which makes him a very reliable for laning as well as roaming. The bodyguard facet makes your laning stage very strong. It is very good facet in the late game as well against physical damage cores because it provides 16 armor. Marci's ultimate ability allows him to be the 4th core in the mid to late game. All Marci needs is just one BKB to manfight any hero. 9Class has two variations for starting items based on the matchup. When the matchup is unfavorable and the lane is kind of unplayable, he starts with brown boots, a blood grenade, a sentry, and an observer ward. He places the observer ward behind the lane so he can kill couriers, and the enemy team struggles with getting items in the lane. After taking bounty runes, he calls for healing items. Courier usage is really easy on Marci because Marci innate ability gives you flying couriers. Unfavorable matchups are those where your hero cannot do anything to enemy heroes directly in the lane. For example, Jakiro vs Marci is a very Jakiro-sided matchup because Jakiro just slows your movement speed and attack speed, and Marci cannot do anything in the lane against Jakiro. In such a matchup, you just have to play around with the creep waves and survive the early levels without feeding. Brown boots are going to help him survive the early laning stage. 9Class wants to cut the wave and drag it to tier 2 or tier 1, which helps in splitting the enemy heroes in lane, which helps a lot in the laning stage. Since Jakiro is chasing Marci, it is hard for Marci to cut the waves with this much low health. But this is also good because Doom is laning alone and he is farming easily without getting pressured by Jakiro. This lane should be very Jakiro and DK favored, but because 9Class is keeping Jakiro busy out of the lane, it is helping Doom to get the space. Because of that early ward, he noticed that there is a courier coming with an item. He is going to focus on killing the courier. It doesn't matter how much farm the enemy does, if Marci is just killing their couriers and never letting them have their items, their net worth will remain the same during the entire laning stage. Meanwhile, his offlaner gets his items and his net worth increases. There is another case when Jakiro doesn't follow Marci and pressures Doom in the lane. In that case, Marci can simply cut the wave and drag it to tier 2. If Jakiro follows, we'll have the same result of splitting the enemy heroes in lane. If Jakiro doesn't follow, then Marci can farm the enemy's wave and deny his creeps, resulting in an experience win. 9Class calls for healing resources again and again so he can keep his health full, and he's never AFK in the lane. Now he has the hard camp unblocked as well, which he can pull to get the wave close to his tower. Jakiro gets out of position when the pull is done and ends up feeding. This lane heavily favors Jakiro and Dragon Knight, but Dire ends up winning the lane because of Marci's lane understanding. If he had stayed in the lane and tried to trade attacks or use spells in lane, Dragon Knight and Jakiro would kill him every time. You can apply this with any hero in every unfavorable matchup. After 5 to 6 minutes, 9Class starts rotating on map in every game when his cores can lane alone. One of Marci's strength is that he's really good at ganking because of his spells. When you start ganking other lanes, it creates pressure on the map and helps your team win multiple lanes. It forces the enemy to react to your plays while you're the one controlling the game. There are going to be three scenarios. First one is you're dominating your lane in a way that you're also getting kills on the enemy heroes. In that case, you will stay in the lane, but as soon as the enemy support leaves the lane, you will also leave your lane. Second scenario should be your offlaner at this point can lane alone and then you can just leave him alone and roam on the map. And your third scenario would be your offlaner is just a bad player, he's feeding and there is no point in supporting him. Well, in that case, you can leave your lane and help other two lanes. The other build is the standard support build. 2 dangos, 1 blood grenade, a circlet, a sentry and 3 branches. Block the neutral camp with the sentry so you don't forget about it when the lane starts. Circlet and branches provide stats which allow your hero to have more health, mana and armor in the lane and make the laning stage stronger. Blood grenade is very valuable item for support as it can be used to set up for kills if the enemy is out of position. Blood grenade combined with dispose slow is very strong in the early game. After taking bounty runes, 9Class calls for a healing salve and another sentry. Why healing salve when he has 6 tangos already? Usually, it is hard for melee heroes to trade with enemy heroes in the lane because you take a lot of damage in return from the enemy heroes and creeps. He wants to trade health with the enemy heroes and use this salve to get advantage. The way you use spells matters a lot. He doesn't randomly walk in to use dispose. He waits patiently in trees and uses spell when he can dispose the enemy into his creeps. So the enemy takes damage from creeps as well. He uses dispose like this in every single game on the first wave. Usually people are not ready for such a play in the first wave, so you can abuse this in your game and get a head start with zoning out the enemy in the first wave. This laning matchup is not unplayable, but it is still very hard for Marci because every time Marci is going to go close to the enemy heroes, Io's overcharge and Gyro's rocket barrage will melt Marci's health. When you have got such matchups where it is really hard to make an impact, just focus on getting some levels from the lane and start ganking other lanes. Marci's kit allows him to roam and gank other lanes very easily. You have got Rebound that you can use to jump on the enemy and stun them, Dispose to put them in a bad position and slow them, and lastly you have got Bodyguard. Bodyguard is a really strong facet. The ally that you use Bodyguard on receives not only lifesteal and armor buff for 6 seconds, but if that ally is hitting a target or is getting hit by a target that's within your attack range, Marci will counterattack them, which is crazy damage at any given stage of the game. Marci's early game skill build varies from game to game. If you are playing against heroes that you cannot get close to, then you can go for Rebound on level 2 and 3 so you can jump on them and set up for a kill. Getting Rebound on level 2 and 3 helps you with early game rotations as well. If it is a lane where you feel like you can walk to the enemy and use Dispose on them, generally against melee heroes, then you go for Bodyguard on level 2 because you have way too much damage with Bodyguard and you have a good power spike that you can abuse to get kills in every game. Other than that, the rest of the build is the same. You max your Rebound, which helps you in ganking other lanes as well as farming waves, and then you max your Bodyguard. Since Marci has to walk into enemy heroes to fight them, bracers are really good buy on Marci. They give you a decent health pool, stats and damage which doubles after 25 minutes. So your itemization on Marci should look like this. 2 bracers, a magic wand, phase boots and a BKB. Always keep a smoke with yourself and every time you have got the ultimate available, look for a pick off. Marci's damage with ultimate is really stupid. When the ultimate is on cooldown, there are 2 things that you can do. If your team is playing passive, you can farm lanes or jungle. Otherwise, I would advise you to start reading minimap and based on that, play around your cores and protect them on the map. It is really easy for Marci to make an impact if the fight starts on someone else. Remember, you need somebody to be with you in order to rebound to enemies. Think about the target you want to kill first in a fight and jump on them with your ultimate on. If you're finding it hard to jump on the target in team fights, you can make Blink Dagger after BKB. Otherwise, you can get items like Basher, Sanjan Yasha. Sanjan Yasha basically gives you health regen and lifesteal amplification, which is really good with your third spell, Daedalus, etc. Try not to be the first target in the team fight, and you will see how much impact you can make with your ultimate and right clicks. That's insane damage. Marci is so broken. This is what the damage from Marci looks like. You just press your BKB, ultimate and AFK your hero, and your hero kills anybody with the ultimate in a 1v1 scenario. Just make sure every time you wanna go into fight, your ultimate is not on cooldown. 9Class prioritizes farming if there is nothing happening in the game or your team is not ready to fight yet. Don't hesitate to farm. Marci has a really strong timing with BKB. Don't force random fights. If you're getting the space to farm your BKB, do it. Marci can farm jungle easily because of additional damage and lifesteal from the third spell. If you don't give yourself time to farm your important item and keep fighting without a purpose, you can put yourself in a very bad scenario in a game where you will never get your BKB. In terms of talents, just take all the left side talents because they will help you scale really well into the late game. In terms of team fighting, always fight when you have got your ultimate available, but join the fight in such a way that you don't become the first target. Let somebody else go in first because you need the freedom and time to hit the enemy freely with your ultimate on and a target to use rebound as well. When the ultimate is on cooldown, farm lanes that are abandoned. Make sure to get your BKB as soon as possible because after BKB you're kind of unstoppable in fights. It doesn't matter how low your health is, the lifesteal from the third spell and talent combined with your ultimate doesn't let you die if you're hitting enemy heroes, and this is further amplified with Sanj. If you have got some Dota related questions, you can join my Discord linked in description. There's something valuable that I came across through Reddit. Rubric recaps share meta updates with the top heroes to play for each role every week, which in my opinion is really helpful if you don't know which heroes to play. They also share some Dota news and content. If you're interested in that, do check that out. I'll link that in description.